Hey everybody, welcome back to my Pink Room of Doom. As always, I hope you're doing well today. Today, we're gonna take a look at all of the guitars that I still have in the studio as of February 2022. That's right everybody, all the guitars I have left as of February 2022. Now, some of the guitars that I'm not gonna be showing here, obviously because I don't have them anymore, I sold them off for a couple of reasons. I didn't play them a lot anymore, and I just kind of wanted somebody else to be able to play it. I just didn't vibe with it. Maybe I didn't like it as much as I initially thought I would, or I just wanted something else, and I needed the money to get something else that I saw that I liked, and it's as simple as that. So with that part out of the way, there's actually another reason I wanted to make this video. So if you go back on my channel, you'll see that I have a lot of videos, I think about 30 videos or so up to this point. A lot of them are guitar reviews, me talking about the guitars that I have. And I still get questions about specific guitars. For example, say the LTD EC257 7-string that I used to have. That's one I no longer have. I still get questions about it. While I can kind of give you some insight remembering when I had it, it's kind of hard to say now, and I feel like I'm not giving the most honest answer. But like I said, I had it, I made a video on it. You can watch the video and kind of get my reaction and kind of gauge it from there. So it's about all I can really say about that. But anyway, just kind of wanted to throw that out there. So the way this is gonna work, I'm just gonna pick a guitar up, I'm gonna show you it, I'm gonna talk about it. If you want more details about it, I've probably made a video about it on my channel. You can go check that out. If you're new here, subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming up, a lot more video ideas that I'm working on, so make sure you stick around, hit that bell notification, check the description for some links, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into the first guitar. So let's kick this video off with, in my opinion, one of the best guitars that Epiphone has ever made, ever. That is this right here. This is an Epiphone Les Paul Custom Classic. Now, if you're like me and you're thinking, a custom classic, what is that? Well, first, it is actually the name of it. It is actually called a custom classic. A lot of people might say, well, there's either the custom or the classic. No, this is both. I don't know why they called it that, but they did. The first thing that struck me as odd that this was something special was the headstock. And you can see that the headstock has this SG crown inlay in it. And then immediately I noticed, wow, it's like a smoky yellow, like this thing has sat in a smoky bar for its entire life and all of the white binding turned yellow. Some people absolutely despise the way this thing looks. I love it. That's part of the reason that I got it. But this one in particular was completely gutted by the previous owner, and everything was changed. The pickups, the tuning machines, the bridge and tailpiece, the electronics, everything was changed. So anyway, I do have a full video of this on my channel if you want to go learn more about it. I will warn you, there is one discrepancy in that video that I'm going to go ahead and address here. And that is that I said that the bridge pickup was stock. It is not stock, it was changed. This is a set of Seymour Duncan 59s. So if you go and watch that video after watching this one, just be aware that what I'm saying about the pickups, they're Seymour Duncan 59s. Everything else in the video was pretty bang on. But yeah, I love this guitar. I'll never get rid of this guitar. It's something special, and I play it all the time. It's just lovely. If you ever get the chance to find one, they're pretty hard to find, but when they pop up, they're pretty fairly priced. I guess no one really knows what they are, but I would definitely snatch it up if you see one come up used. Okay, moving right along to the next guitar. This one I think has taken the spot as my #1 baby guitar. This thing is just amazing. I love it to bits, and I'll never get rid of it for that reason. It's this. This has made an appearance in a lot more videos on my channel than any other guitar. This is the Epiphone 56 Les Paul Pro in ebony. So this was the guitar that got me into P90 pickups. This is the first guitar that I've ever owned with P90s in it. This was the second Les Paul that I'd ever owned, and it's just so special to me. Everything is stock on it, everything. The P90 Pros from Epiphone, I don't know what they did with them, but they sound amazing. These pickups sound so good. And I was one of those people that just kind of couldn't get into it, but these absolutely changed my mind. The black with the cream and like the amber colored knobs, I mean, it's just so beautiful and it's such a pleasure to play. It's got a thicker neck on it. It's not quite like a full fat 50s neck, but it's pretty chunky. But man, this thing rips, it rocks, it's so, so good. A lot of it for me is that when I pick it up, there's just a vibe to it. And I think it's because it's kind of beat up. It's got like a big chip right here. And the back is just all kinds of covered in buckle rash. You can kind of see it in the light there, but yeah, I mean, aside from the aesthetics, the playability of this thing, I mean, it's just like, it's so good. It sounds so good. This is definitely my number one, and it'll stay with me always because it's just so good. If you can find one of these, again, pick it up. They're great. At least give it a try. So staying in the theme of P90 loaded Les Pauls, I also have this thing. I've made a video on this as well. This is another Epiphone 56 Les Paul Pro, and there is a couple of reasons that I own this one. So before I get into those reasons, it's exactly the same guitar as the last one. It's all stock. It's got the amber colored knobs, the cream colored plastics, the same pickups in it, so it obviously sounds amazing. The neck feels very, very similar, so it's the same tuners, everything's the same except for this candy apple red finish. The second reason that I own this is thanks to Mr. Jared James Nichols. If you know who he is, you'll know kind of where I'm going with this. If you don't, go check him out because that man is a hell of a guitar player. He's so good. But he has I think it's a 54, I believe. I don't know the year. I believe it's a 54. It could be a 52. I don't know. I don't know Gibson's history that far back. But it's a really old Gibson Les Paul. And he calls it Old Red because it's an old red Les Paul. And I love that guitar. If I ever had the opportunity to have that one or a custom shop version, I would save all my pennies for it. It's totally worth it. So I was browsing Guitar Center used one day and I saw this and I was like, wow. And I didn't even think about it. I just went down, added cart by, added it. There it was. It was in my cart, then it was at my doorstep. And I've not regretted it since. This thing is awesome. Again, it's kind of a vibe thing. I kind of want to end up playing like Jared and want to throw away my picks and just use my finger, but not as good as him, so I can't do that. But anyway, yeah, so 56 Les Paul Pro, candy apple red. If you can find one, I say good luck, and I don't say that in a mocking way. I really say good luck because they're really, really hard to find. Staying in the realm of Epiphone, we're gonna go on to another first, and that is my Epiphone SG G400 Pro. Now, this is the old Epiphone model, the SG model, the G400. A lot of people didn't really like them. I love this one. And the reason I say this is another first, because this is the first SG that I've ever owned. Now, I did own a while back that black SG. It was the SG Standard from the new range with the new headstock and everything. That was a great guitar. Something about it didn't really sit right with me. I think it was the neck, and I'll get to that in just a second. Because when I picked this one up and play it compared to that other one, it just didn't sit as comfortably. So the story with me and SGs is kind of complicated because I spent forever, I wanted an SG, but I spent forever looking for the right one. And a couple years ago, I saw this one on the floor at Guitar Center. It was used. It was about 180 bucks, 170, 180 bucks, somewhere right in there. So I picked it up and played it, and I was like, wow, I think this is it. I think I finally found my SG. So I bought it, and I've not looked back since. So getting on to why I didn't really like the black one compared to this one is because this one has a thick neck on it, which is pretty strange, because this is more akin to, say, the 56 Les Pauls that we just looked at. It's a really chunky neck, and I don't think I've played an SG with a full fat neck on it. Like it's something about it just feels comfortable to me, and that's part of the reason why I love it. Now, I will say the neck dive issue is a little more prominent on this thing because it's got more wood up here than a normal SG would, but that doesn't bother me. I don't really care about that. So this one has been upgraded. I upgraded it. It's got a Switchcraft switch, CTS pots, and a DiMarzio Air Classic in the bridge. Something else that I realized about this thing, when I got it, the switch down here was messed up. So when you go to the neck position, it wouldn't play the neck. So there was some kind of weird issue going on. You kind of flip it back and forth and it would eventually connect and it'd be really, really dull and weak. But when I changed out the switch, rewired everything, I found out that this neck pickup is one of the best neck pickups I have ever heard. This is the stock Epiphone neck pickup, and it's gonna stay that way. This thing rocks as it is. It's so good, I love it. I keep it tuned down to drop C, so this is my metalcore monster, which is, you know, not typical of an SG, but the G400 series, don't dog them, man. If you want a cheap SG, which they've obviously risen in prices as of late, but if you want a really nice cheap SG, definitely take a look at one of those, because you might find one that someone upgraded, and you'll have yourself a killer playing guitar. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get this one out of the way just because it's the last Epiphone of the bunch. This one is something that I wanted for a long, long time. And I'm sorry that I'm wearing black and you can't really see it. I just thought about that with the other two black guitars, but this one is an awesome guitar. This is an Epiphone Explorer. Now, this is a Korean-made model. It is also an Epiphone second, which means there was some kind of defect when it left the factory and got to the consumer. I don't know what that was. Obviously, I can't tell because this is a 2004 model. And it's been beat to death, and I don't care whatever it was, it plays fine, right? I do have a full video of this on my channel if you're gonna go look at that. There were some problems with it when I got it, but there was one big surprise that I got with it that I really liked, and that is that right back there. It came in a vintage 90s Gibson case. Those alone sell for about $300 or $400 as of the last time I looked. So if I ever wanted a quick $300 or $400, maybe about 200 bucks, I got that case back there. That's really cool. But anyway, probably won't sell it, but I got this. As you can see, it's had some upgrades done to it. It's got a new bridge pickup in here. This is a Seymour Duncan distortion in white because I thought it looked really cool with the white pick guard. Has a new switch over here, and it has CTS pots in it. Now, the big issue that I had with this when I got it was the pickups. The pickups were thin. They were not very hot. I would raise them up to almost touching the strings and you could barely hear it. It was barely audible through an amp sim. It doesn't matter. It was barely audible. So the neck pickup is still the stock neck pickup. I need to change that because it's the same way. It just does not sound good. So, but I also have a video on my channel where we upgrade this thing and you can see a before and after. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I just wanted an Explorer and I saw this come up with a nice price tag on it and it said it came with a case, and then I got the surprise of my life with a vintage 90s case. So there you go, Epiphone Explorer. All right, we only got a few more left. We're gonna go ahead and go on to my latest acquisition and the last video that I uploaded. That is on this thing. This is a Squier vintage modified 70s Stratocaster. I'm not gonna harp on this one too much because I did just upload this video, but I will kind of give you the rundown of why I like this thing. So the first thing that caught my attention was the body. That beautiful like buttercream, yellow, creamy kind of color. I love that. It's like an off-white. You got the white pick guard, you got the black plastics, the black pickups. I mean, that just looks so killer to me. And these are Duncan design pickups. Essentially meaning Duncan designed them, sent their spec sheet over to the Indonesian factory, because that's where this thing was made, and said, hey, this is how we make our pickups, build them this way, and you have Duncan design pickups. But anyway, yeah, I needed a full-size Strat, and I've always loved the vintage modified series. I've never owned one. I've owned a classic Vibe before, but again, I have a video on both of those guitars on my channel if you want to go check those out. And I mean, just look at it. That big old headstock, the body, the rosewood fingerboard, just looks great, man. It sounds great, it plays great. I love it. I love having a Strat again. And that's really the story about why I have this thing. Moving right along, we're gonna stick in the realm of Strats with my little Squier Mini. So again, this is a Squier Mini Strat. I have a video on this on my channel if you wanna go check out the full review and everything on that. And it said, it is what it says on the tin. It is literally a mini Strat. Now the Squier Minis come out of the Affinity range, so it is you know, down on the totem pole as far as Squier models go, but this one in particular plays really well. It sounds really good. I really like it. I bought it with the sole intention of traveling with it, and then the plans to travel were canceled. So I just have it. I didn't want to, you know, sell it. I really liked it, set it up really nice. Put some heavier gauge strings on it. If you're gonna get a short scale guitar, make sure you put some heavier strings on it, maybe go up to 11s. And you shouldn't have any tuning stability issues. But yeah, this thing sounds really, really cool. It's just a vibe. You can see since the last time you saw it, if you watched the original video, I put a little Flamingo sticker on it. And yeah, it's just a fun little thing to have, and you get some pretty genuine Strat tones out of it. You can find these all day used for like under $100. So if you ever want something fun to tinker with or just something to travel with, highly recommend a Squier Mini. They're really, really fun. And last, but certainly not least, probably the most asked about guitar, and then when I finally made a video on it, got like no views, guitar that I own. And that is my Jackson King V. Now, the headstock does not say Jackson. This is really a Jackson. It was just a regular black King V when I first got it. I've had this thing for years and years and years. The pickup stopped working when I was probably about 16. So at the time I didn't know anything about it, and I said, I'll just cut the pickups out. So I cut the pickups out, and it sat as an empty husk for years and years and years. I didn't touch it, couldn't play it, nothing. I think I strung it up a couple times just to play it. One day I said, you know what? I want to learn how to solder. I figured this was the perfect beast to do that with. So I put some of these Wilkinson pickups in there, and they sound okay. Probably gonna end up changing them. It's had to have a shim in the neck because it had a weird issue with that. As you can see, it's been painted This isn't the first paint job it's had, and it's evident by the output jack down there being red. This thing is just a mess, but it's so like punk rock. I love it. It doesn't even have the cover on the cavity back there. This thing is just, it's a vibe. It's kind of a pain to play sometimes, but it's just, I can't ever part with this thing. It's the first V that I've ever owned. I love it. And that, my fellow people, is the update video. It was pretty evident what you were gonna see on the rack back there. My Explorer is off on its own on a stand because it won't fit on the rack, and I can't figure out how to get it to fit on the rack right because I'm an idiot, I guess. But that's kind of my studio update as far as guitars go. If you liked the video, please make sure you subscribe, give me a like or a dislike. It doesn't matter, I can't see because YouTube took that away. But if you like the video, hey, interact with me, leave me a comment. What's your favorite guitar? Do you have any of these? You know, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. So until next time, take care of yourself, have a good day, and I'll see you next time.